Hi everyone, my name is Brooke in case you don't know me, but I wanted to make a video today about just where I am at in my life and the things that I am doing and why I'm doing them, because I've gotten a lot of questions lately about where I'm at and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and I only think that it would be great if I shared where I've come from and shared what the struggles that I've been through and the things that I've done. And I might have kids that come in here and interrupt me, so I apologize for that. But I have probably 6 years that I've been working on my health and fitness journey and having 2 babies in between that. And looking back on where God has taken me, when I had my 3rd baby and we moved across the country from Phoenix to Mississippi and changed location, and my 3rd was 2 weeks old, and I had my husband there for maybe 2 weeks, and then he left for 3 months. And so I was in survival mode. I hated my body. I had been consistent in the gym for many years. I had a fabulous gym buddy that's now on my team, and I love her. And I was missing out on that. And so I started picking up and doing all the things that I know to do. I would, go to church, pick up and find a church. We actually looked for churches with my husband gone because it took us, 2 weeks with a newborn baby to unpack and to move in, which drove me crazy, but we did it. So fast forward a couple of months in the church that we were involved in, and I was in a Bible study with some ladies, some fabulous ladies. And one of the girls said, "Brooke, you're such a great girl and I enjoy being with you." But she said, "I did not think that when I first met you." And I was shocked because I didn't know what she meant by that. So I asked her, and she said, "You were very snobbish and cold-shouldered." And I said, "Well, do you have any idea what I was going through? And any idea how hard it was for my husband to leave and for us to move across the country from my fabulous church family, from the cozy place that we had been for 4 years, and pick up and move, and then my husband leave?" And so I felt like no one could relate to me. And there are, quite a few military families that could relate, but in that situation, there were none. And I felt very lonely and very tired. And I remembered, I just started thinking, well, it's been a couple months since I exercised, and I remember how fun it was and how good it made me feel. And so I put in P90X, and I started doing P90X, and those workouts are 1 hour and 15 minutes if you add the abs, which is crazy. I can't hardly do that now. But I would put my workout clothes on, and Joy was a cluster feeder, so, when she's 2-3 months old, I'm nursing her like 5 hours at a time, and it was exhausting. I remember it feeling like I did that 2 different times during the day, and she clung to me all the time, so I felt like I was holding that kid all the time, 24 hours a day. And I was there alone, and I had 2 other kids, and I was homeschooling, and so the list goes on of how stressful it was. But I would do 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there, 15 minutes until I got the whole workout done that day. And then I started looking at pictures that I was trying to take of me and the kids by myself and setting up the timer. I remember doing that, and just so I could have documentation of time with my baby and time with my kids without my husband there. So that was a hard time, and I remember it was during that time that Joy was having lots of medical problems, and I was having to take her to many doctors to see what was wrong. And so that's when we gave up dairy, because it was very hard on her body, and it was causing way more damage than anything ever should that we enjoy. And I bought a Vitamix, and we changed everything in our lifestyle. Then fast forward, I got pregnant again and had Violet, and that was the most traumatic birth of my life. 2 months later, we moved back to Arizona, which I thought would be the most beautiful, wonderful time of our life, moving back to our church family, moving back to our group of friends. And it was when we were unpacking our house, and I looked at Wes, and I told him that I wanted a divorce. I told him that I couldn't be married to the military anymore. It had nothing to do with him. It had to do with, we had moved 3 times in 3 years, and I just couldn't keep feeling the way that I'm feeling. I couldn't keep dragging my kids through this. And so I stayed in that depression. I had a hard time getting out of bed. I hated my body. I hated the way I felt. It was very hard to exercise because of how it pulled on my stomach. So about the time that Violet was 4 months old, I ordered TurboFire. I said, I'm just going to do it. I can't drag 4 kids to the gym again, even though I was right down the road from my favorite gym, which I really called a spa. But I just needed to get it done. I needed to feel better. And so it was that time that I started working out and I started changing my body again. And I said, this is the last time. I'm not going back. I'm not going backwards. I'm not starting over again. I wasn't planning on having any more babies. I said, this is it. So this is the long haul. This is the drug that I choose to feel better. Well, I knew that the red flags were up, that I could not, exercise just wasn't it. It wasn't the only thing that I needed. I changed my diet. I did 12 weeks of EMDR therapy, which is what I recommend to everyone that I know. This was before I did Chalene Smart Success and before I even knew really what EMDR was. I wanted a therapy that I didn't have to talk about my problems. I could go in and figure out what's going on in my brain that causes me to have such traumatic reactions every time we move and every time we uproot ourselves, because it was just happening way too much. And my body and my brain were not responding very well. So it was during that year that we really changed our diet. My clothes started falling off of me. It was wonderful. I felt better. I even looked back at pictures and I looked happier than I've ever looked postpartum. And I'm so incredibly thankful for that. And so changing my diet little by little by little over that 4-year time, and cleaning it up and dialing down and seeing exactly what my body needs, and adding herbs and adding supplements that I know that we just can't get through food, has been the most amazing thing that I could have ever done. And so I get questions all the time about how I do what I do. People are so shocked. They are amazed. They call me ROCKSTAR or whatever. Well, the truth is obviously that I'm not. I sometimes barely get a shower. Sometimes I get 5 hours of sleep because my brain just won't shut off. 6 months without my hubby feels like an eternity. And being a single mom and making all the decisions that a single mom makes wears on my brain, and I am so exhausted. My next trip to Korea is coming up, and every time Wes asks me what I want to do while I'm there, and even though we have this awesome vacation planned, all I say is that I want to sleep. And so the more irritated that I've been, the more stressed that I've been, these last 6 months I've not had very good sleep. And it's wearing on my body. I feel it every single day of how exhausted I feel. But the stress level that I've had this year has been incredible, more than I could have ever expected. In April, when I went to visit him, I came back home and I didn't have a period for 2 months. There was a lot going on in my life that was causing stress. Moving back to my hometown, living so close to my parents, which I haven't lived next to for 14 years, and learning how to deal with that, and having boundaries, and having one side of my head felt like it was a blessing. The other part of my head felt like it was a stress because I just couldn't be on my own. And it is, probably one of the hardest things to say, that I feel so incredibly blessed at the same time that I feel so incredibly exhausted, and I also feel incredibly lonely. And we don't have a good church family here, and it's no one's fault, just because we're only here for a year, and it takes 2 years to get planted somewhere. And it takes 2 years for you to really get to know your church family and your small group and all that good stuff. It takes that long. And so that was not God's plan for us this year. And it is a It's just a hard time. But if there's one thing that I can say for sure that makes a huge difference in my life, is that I choose to eat very clean food and I choose to exercise. And those are the things that I get criticized the most for. And I get people that turn their back on me, and people that think I'm crazy, and people that that I've known for a long time that just criticize me and negative and add more stress than they need to. And I don't get it. It should be a nicer world when someone is trying to do better for themselves and trying to feel better. And we're just not in that place. And so I just wanted to share how it's not necessarily easy, but for any mom that is going through a hard time, that is going through a very stressful season of life, that you feel tired and you feel exhausted and you might even feel lonely. Your brain feels so worn out. There are solutions. There is help. You can find help in God's Word. You can find help in prayer and praying over God's Word, memorizing God's Word, as hard as that is, because sometimes I feel like I'm reading God's Word and it's fuzzy. So I can't say that those are perfect moments, but I believe that God has a plan in those seasons, that if we obey and we do the things that we know we're supposed to do, that we take care of ourselves and we take care of our health, and we don't allow stress to take its toll on our body, because it can cause a lot of damage. That cortisol that goes through your veins, it can cause a lot of damage when you're under a lot of stress. So taking care of yourself is one of the biggest priorities. I might not always look pretty. I might not even have a shower some days, but I know, putting in that time, that 30 minutes, that 40 minutes of my workout each day is what my body needs. And so the people that criticize that and say, I'd rather have a burger, I'd rather have ice cream, or rather have fried food, or whatever they say, that's fine. But I'll tell you that in those stressful times, we can make it so much better by the way that we care for ourselves. And that's my purpose right now. That's my plan. That's what I want to teach my kids, is how I take care of myself and how I protect myself from damage, from stress, from the crazy environmental factors that go on with the stress of having your husband gone. So, it is a blessing that I get to go and visit him. I count it so much of a blessing, but it's also very hard on my body. It's very hard on our kids. It's very hard for me to hear all the time that we live in a house, that my kids have no memory of their dad, that we moved here and then he left. And so much of this situation is very imperfect and very hard, and I would never wish it on anyone to go through this. But we are going through it, and we're 6 months in, and we have 6 months left. And, I just wanted to share exactly where I'm at, that I'm doing the best that I can with what I have. And I have a very mobile body. God has blessed me with health right now, and I am so thankful for it. So I will not waste it. I will not take this blessing of a healthy body, that I can move, and I can build muscle, and I can get stronger, and I can feel healthier throughout the day. I will not waste it. I will not take time off from feeling good. And you can criticize that all you want, but there are so many blessings in it, and God pours out so many blessings when we take care of the temple. And we might, be criticized and abused for it, which I do get a lot. I not more so from people that I've known forever, which is crazy. But yeah, so if someone that is going through a hard time, and someone that is struggling, and they're trying to better themselves, and they're trying to have a healthier life, and they're trying to feel better and look better in their clothes, and trying to be a more positive role model for their kids and be a better example, so we don't keep reproducing the same obesity trend in our world and the same mental problems because of food, then support them and encourage them, because that is the best. That is the thing that they need. That is the best thing that you can ever say to them, that you're so happy for them, that you are there for them if they need to talk. That's what they need, even if you don't want to join them. This isn't for everyone. I know everyone won't enjoy eating kale and bananas and shakes and working out for 30 minutes a day, even though that's crazy to me because 30 minutes is nothing. But support people that are going through that. Encourage them and love them. That's what I need. That's what other people need. So I hope that this encourages you, that in hard times you can feel better and can look better, and you can feel better when you look at yourself in the mirror. So I really just hope that, this is what you needed to hear. 6 months in, and we have 6 more to go. And I hope that you'll pray for me, and I hope that you'll love my kids and know exactly where I'm at, and just support us. It's not easy, and it's definitely not fun to have Wes gone. So thank you, friends and family, and I look forward to hearing your comments and hearing if you've gone through this exact situation, how you did and how people responded to you. But have a wonderful day, and thank you for praying for our family.